Every reader is different and every reader has their preferences, but there are some things that are just pet peeves for readers when it comes to a story. And so if they come across these things, it increases the probability that they'll stop reading your book. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what I believe are top 10 pet peeves for readers when it comes to stories. What's up, guys? My name is Michael Aram with Author Level Up, helping you write world-class stories better and faster. And I create these writing videos because I believe that each of you has Stephen King level talent, and you just need help unlocking it. If you're new here, consider subscribing and click that little bell to get helpful writing videos every week. So let's jump into the top 10 reader pet peeves when it comes to stories. Number one is a bland opening chapter. Like, readers don't want to read a chapter that it's like every other chapter out there. Like, for example, if they're going to read a crime novel, they don't necessarily want the detective sitting in his office and then a pretty woman walks in. Like, try to find ways to subvert that expectation. Find ways to do something different. Copy the stakes, but don't copy the same scenarios that have been copied over and over again. Try to do something original with your opening. Number two is an overpowered hero. No one likes overpowered heroes. The best heroes have some sort of flaw, and if there's a magic system or something like that involved, then it's good to have limitations and things that act as a counterbalance on the hero. Readers respect that because, the thing I've heard from a lot of readers and reading in a lot of reviews is, overpowered heroes are kind of out of style right now. I think they're out of style, period. Number three is too stupid to live characters. So if a character, if you find yourself writing a character and it's like, the way this character is acting right now, this character is too stupid to live. If you find them doing stuff that's like, why are you doing that? The reader's probably going to think, well, why is this character jumping over the railroad tracks at the last minute? I don't know. Avoid stuff like that. I actually had a situation in my current novel that I'm writing right now where I kind of had my character do something that was too stupid to live. So I had to go back and I was like, no, this is probably not the right thing for him to do. I know that readers are going to call me out on this. So just beware that you don't want your character doing things. I mean, you want your character to be a hero, right? But you don't want them to be too stupid to live. Number four is an inconsistent technology or magic system. So this comes into play a lot with science fiction and fantasy. So with science fiction, it's important to have technology that is either plausible or it has to make sense. Like, there has to be logic behind it. Like, readers will call that out if they don't see it, particularly if you're dealing with like space opera or hard science fiction of any kind. You want to make sure that your technology is on point and that your science is right. With science fiction, with fantasy, you have a little bit more latitude, but with your magic system, you want to make sure that it's involved, that it feels real, and it does feel like there are consequences for the characters casting magic, because again, it ties into the overpowered hero piece. Readers like magic systems where the writer is thoughtful about the way that magic can be cast and the costs and the limitations and all that stuff. Readers really like that, and if you just put some thought into your magic system, readers will like you for it. Number five is poor pacing. So pacing and how to do it is outside of the scope of this video, but it's worth investing some time into learning how to pace your chapters, learning how to pace situations, how to pace your final battle, and how to pace your story overall so that you can keep readers turning the page. One of the worst things you can do is just have walls and walls and walls of text and paragraphs that don't end, particularly if you're writing commercial fiction. There's a time and a place for that in certain stories, but just understanding the nuances of that will help the readers continue turning the page and help get them to the end of it so that they can buy your next book. Number six is sad and tired cliches, right? So there are tropes which are just, they're not bad in and of themselves. They just are what they are. It's a detective sitting in his office when a beautiful woman comes in. It's a mad scientist. It's a hero with a flaw. I mean, all those things are tropes at a very high level, right? But there's a difference between a trope and a cliche. A cliche is just something that is just used over and over and over again that readers are just kind of tired of using. So there are also cliches at the writing level, at the sentence level, right? So like saying things like, leaving me hanging or flipping the bird or things that were cool back in the day or were cool a long time ago, but they've kind of lost their meaning, particularly if you think about younger audiences and things that may not understand what that is. It also the problem with cliches at the sentence level is that it takes away the clarity of your writing. So making sure that if you're going to use a trope that is tired and has been overused in the genre, then make sure that you're doing something to kind of spruce it up. Put some different clothes on it, do something a little bit different with it that readers are going to find different and interesting and intriguing. And just make sure you avoid those sentence level cliches. Number 7 is racial or cultural insensitivity. So, if you're publishing a book in 2019, readers don't want to read stuff with a racist worldview or cultural insensitivity. It just, we're writers, guys, and your books are going to be sold all over the world, right? You don't know where your book is going to end up, and so just make sure that the stuff that you're writing isn't anything that could be, perceived as racist or sexist or have some sort of cultural insensitivity. Just make sure you understand what you're writing and the potential impact that it could have on someone else that may not have your skin or your gender. And when in doubt, ask somebody. Number 8 is cliffhangers with no sense. So there's a debate going on about cliffhangers right now. If you read any books on any major bestsellers on Amazon, some readers love cliffhangers, other readers hate cliffhangers. I personally don't see any problem with cliffhangers as long as you're doing them for the right reasons. So, just don't end a book in the middle of the book and then just don't do a cliffhanger that doesn't make any sense. Don't put the reader in suspense and think someone's going to die or think the world's going to end. And then in the first chapter of your second book, it's like, oh no, just kidding. Thanks for your money though. Buy my next book, by the way. Don't do that. Make sure that if you're going to have a cliffhanger, that you actually follow it up, and that you're using the tool as it was meant to be used, which was it's to get people to buy your next book and to keep them in suspense. Whether some readers like to do that or not, that's up to them. But as long as you're doing cliffhangers for the right reasons, you usually won't have any problems. Number 9 is unnecessary deaths. So this gets a little bit into gratuitous violence and things like that. But, don't kill off characters that readers love without a good reason for doing it. J.K. Rowling, I'm looking at you, right? Like, too many people died in Harry Potter that it didn't even make any sense, right? Like, to me, it got to the point where when Hedwig died, it's like, okay, this is too much, right? Don't let the readers get to that point. Like, don't kill off characters just because it looks cool or things like that, because sometimes you never know which characters readers are really going to like, and that if you kill them off, that could be a major engagement killer for those particular readers. So number 10 is switching things up mid-series. So, for example, and just to give a high-level, simple example of how you could potentially cause an issue here. So, let's say that you're writing a series of mysteries or crime with a detective, and each book is a standalone. So every book that you read, it's a self-contained book, and you do that for the first 3 books. And then for book 4, you switch things up, and then you make it an open, continuous thing. So, like, book 4, it's not a self-contained book. You have to buy book 5 to find out what happens next. And then you have to buy book 6 to find out what happens at the end of book 5. Like, that's a situation where you switch things up genre-wise that readers, it's going to confuse them. So if you're going to have standalone books in a series, make sure that series is all standalone. If you're going to have continuous books in a series, make sure all those books are continuous. And then if you're going to have standalones, just make sure you market those a little bit differently, or like as a short story collection or a novella or things like that, and just make it very clear that it's a standalone book. But you don't want to switch things up content-wise, because readers get used to a certain format, and then if you subvert that, that could potentially make them stop reading. So those are my top 10. I know that there are probably like 1,000 more out there, and I would love to hear your guys' perspective as writers and as readers. So let me know as a writer what some of your readers' biggest pet peeves are, and then let me know as a reader what some of your biggest pet peeves as a reader are. I think it will be an interesting conversation. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.